Hi everyone, my name is Yuri, this is Gili. If you're a bank, your anti-money laundering team is massive, and it's getting bigger each year with growing volume of alerts and regulation. But the daily routine of the AML team could be quite frustrating because almost every alert they go through ends up being a totally legitimate customer activity. So for example, someone moves money, let's say 20,000 pounds to Mexico, and the alert system kind of screams like a banshee. It's very, very unusual. You do the investigation, you find out the customer has a daughter studying in Mexico. She was just paying for her tuition. Years ago, the bank would know all of these personal life stories because everything was done at the branch with face-to-face interactions. But with digital transformation, that superpower of really knowing the customer life stories has been lost. With Fine Intelligence, our mission is to help the banks restore that superpower so they can really understand those life stories. How do we do this magic? Let's start showing the demo. All right, so this is the scenario. One of your customers moved $10,000 into their account. They actually deposited it in cash. This was extremely anomalous, and therefore the AML, the anti-money laundering team, needs to investigate this. Typically, if they don't understand what's going on, they would work via the branch to contact the customer. It's a very high-friction process, takes weeks to complete. Instead, this is the digital outreach capability. So customer receives a mobile push notification and starts interacting with this questionnaire. Let's actually start. What's the source of the 10,000 or almost 10,000? Was it a job that I did? Did I sell something? Maybe it's a gift that I received. It was actually a job. I started working in renovation, which is cash intensive. This is the reason I'm being paid in cash. So I'm going to select renovation. How many days or weeks of work did I work here? I'm going to say 6 to 10. And then how many people were working? It was just myself. Very, very quick process. After going through the process, the investigation team has all of the context and information they need in order to resolve that case. The average, and this is actually live with US customers, is 60 seconds to complete that process, 85% completion rate. So now think about the AML team. Within minutes, they have the answer to this mystery of what happened in the customer's account. Now, we collect the data in a very structured way. Because of that, we have a labeled data set that allowed us to create another piece of magic, which is life story analytics. It's a model, an AI-based model, that essentially predicts and detects the specific life story in the customer account that generated the anomaly without reaching out to the customer. So here are a few transactions. The first one was the construction transaction, and you see that the outreach result was indeed construction. But the second one is another anomaly. The model says this is real estate activity, 98% confidence. You see that there is no matching outreach because in this case, there was no outreach to the customer at all. How does the model know that this was a real estate activity? So let's actually start looking at the evidence that the model collects. The model is operating on 2,000 features and looking at things like the transaction history, the alert information, customer information, and account information to essentially rank the various possible life stories. Then it collects additional data from open source and third-party data sources in order to have a very good confidence that indeed that was the specific life story that is explaining the anomaly, which was a real estate seller situation. Money went into the account because I sold real estate. So let's look at the analysis itself. We analyze a lot of things, but one of them is just the transaction amount. You can see that the transaction amount is right in the center of the distribution for real estate-related life stories, okay? Anomalies that were explained by life stories. And if you look at other types of stories like construction, vehicle, buying vehicle, and winnings, they are far below that. Many other types of analysis. Let's actually look at the left-hand side. You see all of the various analysis types. There's another one which is the geographic proximity to that property. This was a real estate activity. So if we actually look at that, we see that the person lives very close to the property that is now that is being sold, just 2 miles. The normal, okay, or the average or the benchmark data is about 40 miles. So this is well within that range. Additional strong correlations are with the fact that the beneficiary or the origin that send the money into the account is some sort of a solicitor, or it's called in the UK a conveyance company. That's another strong feature here, and additional things that basically verify that this was indeed a real estate activity. And if it was a genuine real estate activity that the bank simply didn't really know from the transaction monitoring, that's not going to be a money laundering operation. So essentially, the life story analytics in real time and without even reaching out to the customer and before the investigation itself collects all of that evidence, so when the investigation starts, it's a very quick one. You can reduce 90% of the investigation time. All right, so that was a very quick demo of the refined intelligence capabilities. Visit us at the booth if you want to get more information about what we do. I will just summarize and say that our mission is to restore the superpower that banks used to have of really knowing all of those customer life stories. With digital outreach, we do this within minutes, and we provide the information to the investigation team. With the life story analytics, it's a fully automated process running on the alert data, and even before the investigation starts, all of that information and evidence goes to the team so they can do a very, very quick investigation, reducing about 90% of their investigation time. The product is already working in the US. Anyone that is interested, let us know. And maybe you want to talk to your AML team and say, hey, good news, there's something new and interesting that has been developed that can really, really help you guys. So that's it. And this is Refined Intelligence, catching the good guys. Thanks.